Hi, it's Robin, and today I'm going to get a little bit personal with you guys. And I'm going to talk about my battle with cravings, sugar cravings to be exact. Now, sugar cravings might mean to you something sweet like chocolate or candy, but for me, my sugar cravings come in the form of bread or chips or crackers or those kinds of things. But I'm here to say that both of those things are basically sugar in your body and are more or less the same thing. Um, so, about sugar cravings or cravings in general, when we're trying to make healthy choices and have a healthy lifestyle, it seems like cravings kind of come out of nowhere and really sabotage our efforts. And we tend to just get down on ourselves and think that we have no willpower, we'll never be able to do this, we're weak. And what's really helpful, or what really helped me too, was realizing where those cravings came from. They didn't come from a place of weakness. Basically, when your body is craving something, it is lacking in something. And it's not usually lacking in sugar or salt. Those things that we're craving, they're usually lacking in something else. And it's usually one of two things. We're lacking something nutritionally. So we may be deficient in a nutrient or vitamin of some sort and our body is signaling to us that it needs us, and it somehow manifests itself into, something sugary or salty that we probably really shouldn't have. The other thing that your body may be lacking is something emotionally or spiritually. And that one is a little bit more complex to deal with or fight off, or we may not even be aware of it as it's happening. So I'm going to get a little bit personal with you in my little journey with kind of discovering and tackling my sugar cravings. I can think back into my life and find that, I had that mom that just loved to cook and bake and loved to love her family with really good food. And when life would throw me a curveball or something, hard would happen, and I went through a lot of it, my mom was there to comfort me, and a lot of times it was something with food, some sort of treat to make me feel better. And the other thing about food is, a lot of happy times are centered around food. We have food. We have special occasions and Christmas and holidays and family gatherings, and everything's kind of centered around really decadent and delicious food. So we tend to think of happiness in those times. So when we're feeling like, something for feeling sad or down or depressed, we may not really realize that, that comfort that we're seeking ends up being in food, because we're remembering that time where we felt happy and comforted from our past. And so the other thing is, nutrient lacking cravings. And so a lot of times that comes from a really poor diet. So if we're not giving our bodies the nutrition that it needs, it will signal to you that it needs it and it wants it. And usually, again, it manifests itself in craving something that you shouldn't have. Okay? So when you realize that maybe, it's not you as a weak person with no willpower, that's your body's way of really telling you something, and that you should listen to it. And instead of maybe going for that craving, figure out what it is that you might be lacking. Okay? So what I found was, when I started to treat my body the very best that it could, meaning I gave it the most nutrient dense food that it can, I gave it everything that it needed, it was amazing to me how those cravings are almost non-existent. I'm not saying I never crave anything or I never give in to anything, but it made all the difference in the world. I wasn't constantly wanting those things. So, one of the strategies then that I do is I just make sure that I consistently am eating in that way, and I can ward them off. Okay? The emotional and the spiritual cravings are a little bit more difficult. Those are so ingrained and deep in us that they're a lot harder to tackle. But when I feel that when I can clear my mind of a lot of, chemically altered food and processed foods, and really just treat my body well and be clean, my mind feels clearer, I feel stronger, I feel more confident, I feel that I'm armed to deal with those difficulties in my life, that I don't have to rely on going for that craving that I'm of a not so great food. So it makes all the difference in the world to make sure to treat your body well, and those cravings will really disappear. So it's not the person just being weak or having no self-control. It can almost free you up a little bit and make you a little bit more motivated to get down to the bottom of why it is that we're craving. And when you can really get down there and you can figure out what it is, all of a sudden it's not as difficult. And that just can help all the way around when we're trying to be healthy. So I hope that this helped you in learning a little bit about cravings, and for me to share my story with you, in hopes that you can relate to it a little bit and start looking inward to yourself and see what you can find in helping you battle with those sugar cravings you might be having. All right, thanks guys. Bye.